Phillip Rivers, Josh Downs, and the Indianapolis Colts take on Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and the Jacksonville Jaguars in a huge AFC South Week 17 matchup from Lucas Oil Stadium. The Colts lost a really tough one against the 49ers, could not stop Brock Purdy, and that offense did not force a single punt in that game. To be honest, Phillip Rivers played exceptionally well. They just could not get the run game going. That's been a bit of an issue as of late. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had maybe the best win of the season by any team in football, beating the Denver Broncos, who had been unbeaten at home, and they do it in a fashion that was very impressive. They beat them by a couple of scores, and it really was not all that close throughout much of the fourth quarter. They made the best, and I say the best, one of the best defenses in the NFL look average throughout the entire day. Trevor Lawrence, this was, in my opinion, the best game of his career. Not just because he was efficient and the ball came out on time, he didn't turn it over, but because the Broncos still got to him. They still had 5 sacks. He was still under an immense amount of pressure. You're still looking at a Denver team that got to him, that hit him, and still throughout some of that adversity, he comes through. And the run game didn't really help him all that much. Total on the day, only 81 yards for them. Trevor had 20 of those himself. The key breakout star in this one was Parker Washington. He is a guy that must be on this team going forward now. I didn't, to be honest, know he had like that type of agility to him. I've watched him a little bit this season, but this was a game that was just him making some of these Denver Broncos secondary players look like they were in high school still. I mean, he juked them out of their shoes. 6 catches on 10 targets, 145 yards, and he was able to carry the day in a major spot. They're trying to clinch the division. The Houston Texans breathing down their throat. They had a win against the Raiders. You knew that they were going to win that one, even though the Texans kept it really close. But Jacksonville was going up against the Broncos, and that was going to be a really tough game on the road. So it would have been maybe only a 1-game advantage with two or a tie at the top of the division, with both being 10-5. Instead, Jacksonville gets the win, and if they finish with the same record as the Broncos, they would have the advantage because of that head-to-head tiebreaker win, the same way that they'd have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Los Angeles Chargers. So either team from the AFC West, let's say the Jaguars finish the year 13-4, and the Broncos, they're 13-4. The Jags get the higher seed. They could wind up with the number 1 seed in the AFC potentially. Unbelievable for a team that many were thinking would be very fortunate just to even snag a wild card this season under first-year head coach Liam Coen. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I didn't think they could do it. I thought that the pressure would be too immense for Lawrence to perform at a high level, to push the ball downfield. I thought that Denver would stop the run. What I didn't account for was this receiving core being this good. And I'll admit, I was wrong, and I doubted Jacksonville, and Duval County came after me a little bit, and they were right. Trevor Lawrence played one of the games of his life a week after Bo Nix had one of the games of his life in the same building. 23 of 36, 280, 3 touchdowns. This was a message to the rest of the NFL from the Jaguars that, okay, maybe they're a fun story, was the narrative, and now there's legitimate Super Bowl conversations, and why not? This team's got a direct path to the number 2 or the number 3 seed in the conference right now. Anything that they want to do is still fully out ahead in front of them. If it comes to a matchup with Denver or with the Patriots, the Chargers, a divisional rival, and the Texans, they're not going to back down. They've beaten these playoff teams. They've already beaten them. For this specific matchup, it's too bad that Indianapolis isn't as healthy as they were earlier in the year. And I'm not even including Daniel Jones in that. DeForest Buckner was back in the lineup last week against San Francisco. Didn't look fully like he had the full burst. He still was able to muster 5 sacks on the day, but clearly the push from him isn't what it normally is. And the biggest indicator for that to me is watching down the line in the line of scrimmage and how Brock Purdy is standing in there up tall in the pocket, and he's able to step up when those really talented edge players like Latu are able to come off the edge and try and put pressure on him. Kwity Paye's there. I've loved the rookie this season. They got to keep developing JT Tuimoloau. He's going to be a good player for them as he gets more experience in this league. But this defense that's played well this season, not getting any stops. And now when you look across the sideline and it's the Jaguars who just put up 34 points against the Broncos, and honestly, it felt more so like they would put up 40. Got conservative towards the end. We're just trying to salt away the clock. Can't help but feel that this is an incredibly tall task for the Colts, who need to win their last two to even have a shot. They would have to win their last two, and that would include a loss this week by the Texans, I want to say, to the Chargers. So they would need to win their last two, and they would need the Texans to lose against the Chargers this upcoming weekend, this Saturday, and then they would need to beat the Texans week 18. For Indianapolis to pull this one off against Jacksonville, it's amazing that we're here after they started 7-1. They were 8-2. To say that, what does Indianapolis need to do to win this game? I had them at number 1 for several weeks in my own power rankings. The way that they were playing, they look like the most complete team in football with a push on the defensive line, running the ball well. And that's exactly it. They got to help Phillip Rivers. They need to. He can't push the ball more than 45 yards downfield, and defenses know that. And in that second half, the Colts didn't have the same effectiveness throwing to the middle part of the field that they did in the first half, scoring 17 points. And they still moved the ball a little bit, but San Francisco controlled the clock, and they were unstoppable. It didn't matter if they scored every possession in that second half. They still would have lost to the Niners. But they need the run game to get going here. And there's no excuses for that. 20 carries, 58 yards. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries for 46. It's not like they didn't try. You give a guy 16 carries for less than 50 yards, I would agree that you should probably try something else instead of just trying to bang your head against the wall until you concuss yourself. It wasn't working. There was nothing. Longest carry of the day was for 7 yards. And on the flip side of that, they couldn't stop the run, let alone Purdy, who threw for 5 touchdowns. The Niners ran it 31 times for 145, about 5 a carry. They had their way. Sometimes that's how it is. And with this 5-game losing streak, the entire narrative around the Colts this season, I don't know if I've seen this type of a shift from a team that fully believed that they had this Super Bowl in sights and they could pull it off and they could get the 1 seed. They make the move to bring Sauce Gardner here. And I still don't even know if Sauce Gardner is available. I'm recording this video on Tuesday evening, and I'm not sure if Sauce plays in this game against the Jaguars. They'll need him. If he's not on the field, that's a really large disadvantage once again. If he does play even, what's his health look like? Is he fully healthy and able to run? And that first-round pick goes to the Jets. And that first-round pick, because you might not have your starting quarterback Daniel Jones back next year, it already looks murky for the next season. So they're still grasping on to hope, if any of it is to come to fruition, to find a way in a backdoor spot into the postseason. It starts with the run game. It's just going to come down to Taylor, because this front for the Jaguars, it is better than the Niners. They get after the quarterback better. They don't have a ton of sacks, right? They're bottom 8 in the league in sacks with 29 on the season. But this is a top 3 rushing defense in the NFL. Put them right up there with teams like the Texans and with the Broncos. Some really good defenses. They're right up there statistically. Frankly, I would rather have this Jaguar defense and their run-stuffing ability maybe over Denver a little bit. Those guys are great pass rushers as well. maybe a little bit better pass rushers than run defenders. So the Colts are going to need explosive runs, and that's going to come very difficultly. And it's going to come down to Rivers pushing the ball downfield. And this is an opportunistic secondary. Plus 12 in the turnover differential, which is third in the NFL. They've got 19 interceptions in the league on the season, That's closing in on the Chicago Bears margin that once upon a time had a pretty significant margin in the difference in interceptions. And the Jaguars are right there behind them. And this Colts secondary has been good this year. That's why they thought bringing in Sauce. They were top 10 in picks. You bring this guy in, and this might be the best secondary, one of the best defenses in the NFL going forward now. Offensively, the Colts are still the number 7 offense, I believe, in the NFL. They're 6th in points a game, 28 points a game, 8th in yards at 355 yards a game. They've still moved it. With Rivers, it was very tough against Seattle. The 1 touchdown before the half, but they moved the ball just enough and played very good defense against the Seahawks. And you see that explosion from Seattle against the Rams. And then the Colts can't stop the Niners, who are not on the same caliber of an offense as what Seattle is with the top-end potential. There's no wide receiver on Niners like Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. That backfield, arguably about the same. Like McCaffrey is very good, but Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet do very good things. Like that's a better Seattle team than the Niners. You probably would imagine the Seahawks beat San Francisco next week, which could wind up deciding the number 1 seed in the conference. A couple of things need to shake out. That Bears 49er game will probably decide if it comes down to the final week of the season. But it was a little shocking to see how easily San Francisco went right down the field from the get-go, putting up 24 points in the first half. So that's the second thing. Indy's got to play better defense. You got to make Trevor Lawrence earn it. Brock Purdy, did he have a completion more than 25, 30 yards downfield in that game at Lucas Oil on Monday Night Football? Did he push the ball? Was there a bomb down the field, or was it a beautiful drop in the bucket? Or were there a lot of checkdowns, a lot of open intermediate throws towards the sideline? The answer is yes. There are a lot more of those than there were deep throws over the top. The Colts' game plan was to make Brock Purdy beat them by hitting the easy ones and marching down the field, and he did exactly that. Why don't we get closer towards the receivers, get hands on these guys, test them at the line because they're not a great unit. This is right now a bottom 5 receiving core in the league. Ricky Pearsall wasn't in the game, so it's guys like Kendrick Bourne, Juwan Jennings. They're NFL receivers, but the Jaguars have better ones than them. For example, George Kittle is a great threat, but they didn't challenge them. They're getting free releases, and they're able to pick apart the zone. Kyle Shanahan just goes right through that and decimates it. And if I'm Liam Coen, first quarter, I'm looking at Kyle Shanahan's play call, and I'm saying, okay, let's scheme it up. Brent Strange over the middle of the field, 9 yards, or dump it off to ETN. He can catch the ball and run. He's a very good versatile back at doing that. He did that at Clemson. Let's give him an opportunity. Make the Colts come up, allocate resources towards the first 7-8 yards towards the line of scrimmage. And if they don't ever adjust, why change anything? Again, a little bit of slack for the play calling defensively for Indy because they just could not get any pressure on Purdy. They could not get hands on him, and so he had all day to throw, which any quarterback in the league with that amount of time is going to be extremely successful. That's going to lead me to believe that they're going to play a bit more aggressively, Indy. What do you have to lose at this point? 8-7, long shot odds to make the postseason. Why not challenge these wideouts towards the line? Make Washington beat you. Make Jacoby Myers beat you off the line and force Trevor Lawrence to hit a throw on man coverage 35 yards downfield and drop it in the bucket and be accurate. 7 guys in the box, take away the run, playing within the first couple of yards, tighter coverage, not giving up soft zones. And it's roll. It's roll out here. This Jaguars unit, they've got fast guys. They've got physical guys. Brian Thomas is a combination. He's got size and speed. Washington Myers, good catch and run ability. Like this is easily a blowout if the Colts don't challenge this offense. Trevor Lawrence has showed he's that good now. He can pick apart a defense if you give him opportunities. The Broncos had pretty good coverage at times, and he was able to find the open man. He's got a guy in his face. He's taking a shot to the ribs, and he's still delivering the ball effectively downfield. Really impressive stuff. A critical statistic right now and how it's gone downhill for Indies. They were a good time of possession team. Now they're bottom 10 in the NFL. 29-30 is their time of possession a game, whereas the Jaguars, about 2 minutes and 20 seconds better than them. They're at 31-50 a game. That's fourth best in the National Football League for possessing the football. I would imagine that if Shane Steichen is trying to revive and save this season to pull off a massive upset and get this win, being about 5.5 point underdogs at home, it's going to be in the fashion of an aggressive style, coming out and attacking this Jaguar defense and having Phillip test the middle of it. Look, Devin Lloyd, he's an excellent cover linebacker. There's no question about that. Oluokun, I don't know if there's a better off-ball linebacker duo right now in the AFC than Oluokun and Devin Lloyd. And then there's the former 49er, Arik Armstead, who's been terrific there in the middle. Travon Walker, this kid is really developing. Maybe the sack production isn't there. Maybe not quite yet. Has he become what Aiden Hutchinson is in that category? But as a run defender, if he can stay healthy and be at 100%, this guy he's so dynamic when he's on the opposite side of Josh Hines-Allen. I really believe that this Jaguar line can get to where the Houston Texans are. There's still work to do. There's another offseason, sort of see what they do in this upcoming draft and where they allocate resources. Do they add another receiver, add depth on the O-line, or do they try and go in the back end in the secondary? Or there's questions. Like, do you try and load up and bolster the trenches and add another defensive line player and make this unit even better, add some competition? That's one of the questions that I have. The off-ball linebacker course covered. Could add another defensive back there. The combination of Hines-Allen and Walker can be as good as Anderson and Danielle Hunter within a year or two. I'm one of those believers. Now, that might be a stretch currently, looking the way Anderson and Hunter do. I want to say both those guys have over 11 or 12 sacks on the season. But I'm not going to doubt this Jaguar team going forward. Look, they might not win this Super Bowl. They could win a game wild card rounds and then lose in the divisional rounds, and people will say, it was disappointing. But look, the trajectory for this team is in an incredible position. They are heading sky high, well above expectations. I had them going 8-9 this year. Look at where they are, 11-4. Most likely they finish 12-5, 13-4. Most likely it's 13-4 if we're being honest with the way that this schedule wraps up with the Titans in week 18. 13-4 for the Jags. If they essentially just win this game, 13-4 is right there for the taking. Just got to beat Phillip Rivers and test him. It's a similar strategy. I got to be honest. It's a similar strategy. I'm making Trevor hit those throws down the field beyond 30 yards. I'm really playing tight with these defenders. And if I'm the Jags, you're doing that exact thing. Can Rivers even throw the ball that far downfield and accurately? The ball flutters. It doesn't have that much steam. He never had a beautiful ball, but he always got it there. It was his mind. It was his mental preparation. This guy at the line of scrimmage is one of the best in the league. He's a head coach on the field. He's been a coach at the high school level. Very similar offense to what the Colts are running. And he's as good as anyone at the line of scrimmage. Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, these guys have been at a high level. Both have won Super Bowls. And Phillip Rivers, older than both of them and more experienced, if you can believe it. He's making calls at the line and he's changing it, and it's an advanced offense even beyond. It's far beyond what the Colts had with Jones or obviously what Anthony Richardson could do in reading coverages. It's a level of experience and knowledge that probably wouldn't be reached for another 10 years for one of these quarterbacks being in the league and having experience. It's that of Shane Steichen. It's to that knowledge level of Liam Coen. I mean, this guy could be a coach in the league. I've got no doubt about that. Whether he could be a quarterback coach or even an offensive coordinator if he spent a little bit more time at the craft. He's got 10 kids, or it might be 11. So you could imagine that lifestyle of a coach wouldn't quite be for him, but he's always been that cerebral type of guy with his trash talking abilities, and he's just been such a fun player. I got to take this second to just say how much I respect Rivers for what he did coming back. He could have embarrassed himself, sure. Maybe he still does against this Jaguar team. If it were to be in one of these games, it could come here against the Texans in a really good defense. And you fear a little bit for them and what that matchup looms against that incredible front. And then this Jaguar team that's really fast and physical, and they hit hard. And they just out-physical the Denver Broncos. One of the more physical teams in the league. He's out here battling. Most likely the year's over, but he's still going down to the end and trying to see this thing through and try to salvage a win and be there for a team that called upon him, and he's trying to service them. How can you not like a guy like that or respect it? It's just about unheard of for somebody, and I haven't heard of a story like this 5 years out of the league to come back and honestly play this well. On the flip side of that, we have Trevor Lawrence playing at a career level right now. Overall on the season, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,500 yards, 7 more touchdowns with his legs, 322. It's top 10 quarterback numbers, folks. Only completing 60% of his passes. That's a big knock. That number's got to get higher. The interceptions are probably 4 too many. If this was a 26-7 or 8 ratio, that was 3-1, it would be a lot higher. But the mobility he adds, the big game ability, some of these wins, the Chiefs on Monday night, the Chargers blowing that team out, the Broncos. He's got as good as wins as anybody in the league. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I like them by a decisive margin. I don't think the full extent of a blowout. It's tough because of the rack ability. Parker Washington, the moves that he makes is a tough cover for the Colts, but they've got guys like Josh Downs are very good at that. Alec Pierce, Pittman, they've been incredible. Tyler Warren as a safety blanket. He's a guy that was so involved, and it was clear and obvious he was the tight end, and now there's a bit more of a debate between him and Colston Loveland. Unfortunate there where he sort of turns the route, looks back for the football too soon. It comes out, and the interception goes the either way for the touchdown. But he's going to be a good player for a while. Josh Downs his younger brother is going to be a top 10 pick in this upcoming draft. Almost guaranteed that'll happen. This Colts team is a sad story for the season, but I do think that their roster is good enough to really be strong going forward here next year and above if they can figure out what to do at the quarterback spot and salvage the guys that they have on it. But I will take the Jaguars 31-20. Phillip Rivers, I think, tosses a couple of picks, 2 or 3. The Jaguars defense can make plays, but I think that Lawrence tests the ball downfield and the Colts are able to pick up 1 in this game. And it keeps somewhat close, but the Jags cover. They get the win on the road, 31-20, knock them off and still keep themselves alive in the conversation for the 1 seed, as well as to win the AFC South. And this would eliminate the Colts from the playoffs. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what I'm missing here, or why the Colts might have a better shot than I'm letting on, or why the Jags will win this game by more than 11 and should dominate it. I in no way was going to be on the Rivers hype train when I just went against the Jags beating Denver. So, of course, Jaguars lose this one probably to the Colts when I'm so confident that's going to go the other direction. That's just the way it works, right? I will be fine if that happens. I've got a lot of faith in Lawrence in this defense to come up big. This is a team that should win a playoff game, if not multiple. They can go anywhere with the way that they're opportunistic, the way Lawrence is playing. They can achieve anything they want to. They got their back at ETN 999 yards. He'll cross 1,000 this week, probably the first play of the game. Good team in the Jags. They get the win. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not already, subscribe for more content, please. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me a great deal. Keep this channel rolling and to try and make better, continue to work at it, to build on the infrastructure, to make better content for you so that I can continue to entertain and really make content that you enjoy. And we're just getting started here with Blitz with Blender. If you don't know, my name's Josh Blender, and we make NFL college videos every day, getting you set and ready for these matchups. College football playoff is here for you big college fans. Go check out Ohio State, Miami. The Rose Bowl game's coming up. Indiana, Bama. The Texas Tech, Oregon game. All of those are on the channel if you want to check those out, as well as these other NFL games. The college football playoff is here. NFL playoffs are right here down the road. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Have a safe and very nice time with loved ones. It's the best time of season. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blender. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blender.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.